going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is your favorite North Carolinian, Russ, the Tar Heel. What's going on, guys, man? Happy Sunday night, man. For a lot of you, it's probably not a happy Sunday night because that means we're about to jump back into this next work week. So I know how that is. But guys, we're talking about on the last college football game that we did, the simulation, man. Talking about this whole SEC thing that is that's coming about, that everybody's starting to kind of talk about a little bit more and more. It's becoming a little bit more mainstream, if you will. Do me a favor, man. Hit that like button for me, man. Let me know. Sound check. Make sure everything sounds good before we kick this thing off. It's our first call-in show in a while, so I'm pretty excited about this one, man, because I really want to gauge the temperature of Tar Heel Nation. And if there's any SEC fans out there that want to chime in as well, man, please, when I open up the phone lines, man, give me a call and let me know what you guys think from the outside looking in. Because I think this is a really interesting topic, dude. I think it's a very, very interesting topic. And Carolina's kind of in this crazy position right now to where you got to play your cards right, man. You got to play your cards right. And we're going to talk about that. So, quick shout out, man. Anthony Brown in here early, dude. Anthony says, what's up? Chicken David James in the house. Chicken David James in the house. I think it's been a little bit, Chicken David. Been a little bit, man, since I seen you. We got Joseph in here, Trevor in here. Everybody's already given their 2 cents. Mac, our favorite Canadian, is in the house, dude. Said also big up my second country, England, for winning the women's Euro soccer this afternoon. Already had a few brews to celebrate. I got a little drink in my cup too, Mac. I got a little drink in my cup too, man. So congratulations, my friend. Congratulations. Do me a favor, man. Let me know where everybody's coming from, dude. Put in the comment section where you're watching from. We haven't done that in a while. Anthony B in the Heezy. What's up, bro? Good to see you. And you don't put where you're from, dude. Don't put where you're at right now, man. Max said, join, by the way. Said it on the live stream. Yeah. So we're going to get into all that, man. We're going to get into all that. So do me a favor, dude. Do me a favor. Throw in there real quick, man, where you're from, where you're watching from, etc., etc. I'm very interested to see where we got guys watching the show from, man. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Go up here, man, to Facebook, X, Instagram, obviously on the stinking tube. And hit that daggone like button, man. Join, follow, etc., etc. Man, I really appreciate all the support, dude. We are just over 30 days, man. Just over 30 days to college football, period. And like under 35, dude, for Carolina football, bro. I can't stinking wait. Hutch said he's from Austin. He's not from Austin, but he's in Austin. The leftist expletive. The leftist, Austin, Texas. Joseph in from Wake County, North Carolina. Steve, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. Good to stinking see you, bro. Good to see you, man. So, got about 15 in here right now. Not too bad, man. Sunday night. Who knows how many people want to talk about this. But if you haven't already, like I said, do me a favor, man. Hit the like button, like, share, subscribe to the channel. So the reason that we're having this call-in show, man, the reason why I'm trying to gauge all the pros and cons, or what everybody is thinking about this situation, is obviously the recent emergence of whether or not Carolina should, one, first and foremost, leave the Atlantic Coast Conference, and two, where should they go if they should leave. Now, this is a very polarizing topic. We were talking about it on the last live stream, man, for college football 2026. So if you haven't been hanging out with us on this, man, I've been having a good time. I don't know about you guys. Been having a real good time, dude. Carolina's on a 2-game losing streak right now. We're 3-2, the Simulated Hills, 0-1 in the conference, but we're about to bounce back against the Cal Bears on Wednesday. So we're gonna go out to California and handle business, Cal Bears. So make sure you come and hang out for that. Daniel said he's from Ashe County, North Carolina. I hear you, brother. I hear you. Ashe County in the house. Ashe County in the house. But the question is should Carolina stay in the ACC? Should they go to the Big Ten? Or should they go to the SEC? That is the question, man, that we're really going to talk about today. We're going to talk about tonight. And I'm going to try not to keep you too long. But I think this is a very interesting topic, okay? Now, you guys know how this goes. Before I open up the call lines, if you will, man, to let you guys call in, which I'm hoping I get some participation. I'm sure, I'm sure we'll have a couple of guys call in. If you're nervous, man, don't be. I'm sitting here in front of you. I'm kind of one of those introvert guys myself, man. So if I can do it, you can definitely do it. I want you to call in, and I want to hear your opinion. But before I open up the call lines, man, I want to give you my 2 cents, okay? I want to give you my 2 cents. Marcus, what's up, baby? Good to see you. I want to give you my 2 cents, man. Now, first, for most of you, we're entering our 3rd season as a channel. All right, so a lot of you guys know, for the most part, about Russ the Tar Heel, man. I'm not an alum, okay? I never went to UNC. Actually, I went to UNCP my freshman year, but I am a born and bred North Carolinian. I'm a Tar Heel through and through, man. It courses through my veins. And I'm extremely proud to be from that place right there, bro. Extremely proud. There's not a person that's more proud to be from an area than I am to be from that place right there, dude. I stinking love it. I adore it. I love everything about it. The people, the state. I just, it's my home. It's my home. And it's a euphoric feeling when I go there. And there's a flagship university for the state of North Carolina, the University of North Carolina. Everybody else is second place. I don't care what anybody says. Even NC State fans are Tar Heels. It is the Tar Heel state. Even the Dukies, they are Tar Heels. If you're from North Carolina, it is the Tar Heel state. You are a Tar Heel, dude. Okay? And that's just how I look at things. All right? That's just how I look at things. So with that in mind, I want you guys to know where I'm coming from when I give you my 2 cents, because I think that's important. I think a lot of people are coming at this from different angles. And I think if we're going to have a legitimate conversation about what's best for the university or what's best for us moving forward, we need to know where the starting point is. For me, that's my foundation. That's my foundation. Now, I want to start out real quick with reasons why I've heard, and if I miss some, I want you guys to talk to me when you call in. Reasons why Carolina should not leave the ACC, okay? Now, one of the biggest ones that I've heard is the tradition, okay? Duke, State, Wake Forest, Virginia, your classic rivals for the University of North Carolina within the conference. And I don't think this is a big deal. I think a lot of people are afraid that we're going to lose those games. And I disagree. And I'm going to tell you why I disagree. Because you can schedule them in the non-con every stinking year. Louisville and Kentucky do it. Georgia, Florida do it. There are all kinds of different schools. Miami, Florida does it. Notre Dame, USC does it. Pitt, West Virginia, the Backyard Brawl, they do it. South Carolina, Clemson, Georgia, Georgia Tech. The list goes on and on. There is nothing that says that we can't play NC State and Duke every year in the non-con and just switch home and home. So the whole tradition thing, losing the rivalry games and things of that nature, that really doesn't do it for me, because even in basketball, we can schedule non-con. There is nothing in the rules that says that Carolina cannot schedule a home and home in the non-con against Duke. A lot of people are worried about losing a Duke game. And I understand that. I get it. We just saw it with NC State. We're only playing NC State one time on the hardwood this year in Raleigh. They don't even have to come to Chapel Hill. I don't like that. I get it. But there is nothing that says that you cannot schedule those teams for a home-to-home. I'm just saying. So that one really doesn't move the needle for me, okay? the whole tradition thing. And I'm a traditionalist naturally at heart. I'm a traditionalist. Let me even start by saying this. Let me segue into this. If I could, I would reinstate the Big East. I would reinstate the Pac-12, man. I'd go back to the old 9-team ACC, dude. We'd go to the old SEC, and everything would return to my childhood days when it seemed like college football was perfect. But it's not, okay? It's changed, all right? It's changed. And so with that being said, it's imperative that we as a university make the best decision for this university. And sometimes you have to you have to adapt. All right. Sometimes you have to do what's best for you. And like I said, we'll get into that, man. But I just wanted to, for anybody that's like, oh, you're so willing or so easily willing to put this away. No, I'm not. But reality is what reality is. College football has changed. It's changed. And if you don't adapt, which North Carolina has been very slow until here as of late, they've been very slow to adapt to the changing landscape of college football and college basketball. You can get left behind. So that's one of the other things that I'm looking at, man. So the tradition thing is great, but tradition no longer drives college football and college basketball. It's just a simple fact of the matter. Another thing that I've heard of why Carolina should not leave the ACC is because it's the preeminent school in the Atlantic Coast Conference, right? It's the leadership spot that they have in ACC, if you will, in the ACC. It's an original member since 1959. I'm not going to lie, this one's a little bit harder to relinquish. Carolina is the ACC, and I don't say that, not to brag. That's not what I'm saying, but it's very true. They have a heavy hand in what goes on within the confines of the ACC, at least historically they have. I mean, the headquarters are in Charlotte. That's in the state of North Carolina. North Carolina is the flagship of the state, and it's one of the biggest brands in the conference. So a lot of people are scared about giving up that position as a leader. Hey, what's up, Nick? Good to see you, man. Our favorite Wolfpackers in here. But here's the problem. Even if you are the leader of a team or a conference that's no longer in the power conferences, if you will, because it was the P5, then the Pac-12 dismantled, then it became the P4, and now, college football wide, everybody's talking about the P2. It's the Big Ten and the SEC, right? And then you have the ACC and the Big 12. So if you're the leader of a non-P2 conference, what does that really do for you? I don't know. I mean, if you think that does something, then by all means, I'm very interested to hear your perspective. But you have to ask yourself, at least that's my opinion, do I want to be royalty in the minor leagues? That's the question that I'm asking myself, right? Do I want to be royalty in the minor leagues? It's changing. It is what it is. It is what it is. The old adage, you got to roll with the punches, man. You got to roll with the punches. Another thing that I've heard, Carolina can't compete in the SEC. If they go to the Southeastern Conference, all right, and I've seen it from SEC guys, they're not going to be able to compete. They're going to be reduced to mediocrity. And we'll talk about a school that's done that in the past, not going to the SEC, but leaving the ACC. This one really amazes me on so many levels, okay? And I'm about to break this down for you, so I want you guys to open your ears, pay attention, because I think I got some information here that I think Tar Heel Nation needs to hear, okay? Because this one really does amaze me, and, those who say we can't compete in the Southeastern Conference, especially in football. And it truly bothers me in my soul as a proud North Carolinian, okay? First off, to acknowledge that to me is pretty shameful. All right. I never want to approach things with a defeatist mentality. It's just not how I am, man. I don't think that I'm better than anybody, but nobody's better than me. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think North Carolina is inherently just necessarily better than anybody, but nobody's better than North Carolina, if that makes any sense. Um, we can hold our own with anybody with the right resources, with the right situation. Okay, so I don't like the defeatist mentality. Oh man, if we go to the SEC, we're not going to be able to compete. I think that's horse crap. I don't like it. And if that's the case, once again, who? That's just not how I'm built. I'm not built where I want to be the best of the second class guys. That's not what I want to be. That's not what I'll be. I want to be the best of the best. Okay. Who is to say that a conference swap enabling the best inside of the state, okay, which North Carolina produces a lot of 4 and 5 star talented guys, who's to say that that conference swap doesn't keep some of these guys in state? I think that's extremely important to think about, man. Um, the best in the state, staying home, coached by the best that's ever done it. How in the world is that like just automatically equaling an insufficient uh, uh, winning product? Because it seems like a lot of people are like, well, Bill Belichick's not enough. Well, Carolina doesn't have talented football players. No, we got the best coach. We have a great brand. We have really good talent within the state. And here's the thing, man. A lot of these stinking players, bro, they just want to play in the Southeastern Conference. They want to play in the SEC. They want to play in the Big Ten. They want to play big time football. That's what they want to do. And look, there was a time where it would hurt me bad to say what I'm going to say, but there is a P2 now for a reason. It's not that there aren't good teams outside of the P2, but there is a P2 for a reason, and you have to stink and embrace reality. It's reality, okay? It's reality. I love operating in reality, not stinking fantasy land. Carolina has completely gone all in on the football program. They hired Belichick. Mike Lombardi's there as the general manager. They're fully participating in the revenue sharing model introduced by the House and the NCAA settlement. They're allowing the coach to completely rehaul the culture of the program, bro. We're shedding that soft mentality, bro, that Carolina's been known by, as far as everybody outside of the stinking university, right? The whole culture is supposed to be changing right now. Carolina's never put college football first. Never. And it seems like right now they have. It's because they've recognized the path to greatness. In 2025, college football is king, period. And that's coming from a basketball program. All right? So we're finally getting our house in order, if you ask me. We're finally getting our house in order, okay? A strong football program is the key to success, and we have the resources to be really, really good, okay? Now, once again, the whole, well, you can't go to the SEC because you can't compete. Let me just break some of this down for you real quick, okay? We've beaten South Carolina 2 out of the last 3 times. All right, we have a winning record all time against South Carolina, which South Carolina obviously used to be in the Atlantic Coast Conference. The last time we played the Tennessee Volunteers was in 2010. I want you guys to pay attention to this. Was in 2010. Carolina won in the Music City Bowl. The last time we played Georgia was 2016 down in Atlanta. Carolina had an opportunity to win that game, bro. All right, played Georgia tough in 2016. A depleted Carolina team had Texas A&M on the ropes in the Orange Bowl back in 2021 until they walked away, in the second, or excuse me, in the fourth quarter against a lot of our second team guys, young dudes, man, that ended up being great. Josh Downs had a great game, but he was not a starter that entire season. We played Texas A&M tough, and we had an opportunity to win that game, which is a New Year's Six Bowl. Okay, that's the last time we played Texas A&M. Do you guys remember in 2010 when Carolina was a dark horse national title contender? And they played LSU in the opener with 3/4 of their starters sidelined due to being under investigation. Carolina lost by 6 in that game with 3/4 of their starters out. And they had an opportunity to win at the end. Go watch the end of that LSU-UNC game. I was in stinking Kuwait I was in Kuwait getting ready to go into Iraq for a 12-month tour, and I was with a buddy. I think I've told this story before. We stayed up until 4 a.m. watching it on the other side of the stinking world. And then we had mission the next day. Lost by 6 with a depleted stinking roster against LSU. Okay? That's the last time they played the Tigers. Last time Carolina played Auburn, 2001 Peach Bowl. Guess what? Carolina won. Last time Carolina played Arkansas was 1995 in the CarQuest Bowl. Guess what? Carolina won. Last time Carolina played Mississippi State, 1993 Peach Bowl. Guess what? Carolina won. Last time Carolina played Kentucky, 1990. Guess what? Carolina won. Last time Carolina played Vandy was 1992. Guess what? Carolina won. Is that not doing anything for you? Yes. Carolina has a losing record against the SEC. Okay, but there are only 2 programs currently that are in the Southeastern Conference that the University of North Carolina has never beat. Texas A&M and Georgia. And guess what? They've played both of those teams one time. One time. All right? I want the smoke, bro. I want the smoke. And I don't care who thinks that's comical. I don't care what lame knucklehead thinks, oh man, y'all are soft. Y'all can't compete down here. Bull crap. I just got finished showing you what? 8 teams? 6, 7, 8 teams? That the last time Carolina played them, Carolina was victorious. And there are only 2 programs that Carolina has not beaten in that conference. And they're pretty damn good programs. Alabama and Texas A&M. I'm just saying, bro, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Tar Heels shouldn't be scared. Right? Shouldn't be scared. I'm not scared. I want the smoke, bro. I want the stinking smoke. Another reason people are saying, well, we shouldn't go to the SEC. We shouldn't leave the ACC. Why? Because what if we turn into Maryland? Well, Maryland still hasn't fully invested in football. Trust me. Okay? My brother is a diehard Terrapin fan. He might still be here in the chat. And we talk about it every stinking football season. Maryland's never stinking put all their chips on the table for daggone football. And the last one, that I can think of off the jump, dude, is what about the Olympic sports? All right, now this is going to hurt a couple people's feelings, and that's not my intention. But I want to just rip the Band-Aid off on this one, okay? I don't care. I don't care, okay? I'm not really big on revenue generating sports, subsidizing non-revenue generating sports anyway. All right? And this may offend some people. That's not my intention, but it is what it is, okay? It's like the WNBA players wearing shirts that say, pay us what you owe us. You're not owed anything because the NBA is subsidizing you. The only reason you exist is because of the National Basketball Association, okay? Now, I understand that's going to ruffle some feathers, but it is what it is, okay? What are the revenue-generating sports? Football and men's basketball. I'm not sorry about that, okay? I'm not sorry about that. Now, why do I think that Carolina should leave the Atlantic Coast Conference? The first thing is money. Now, the SEC distributed $808.4 million or $52.5 million per school last year. The Big Ten distributed $60.5 million to most of its schools, and it's only going to get stinking larger. Now, the ACC distributed an average of $45 million to each school, but it will not nearly grow like the P2 year to year. They're about to leave us in the dust, man. And yes, they have, basically the Atlantic Coast Conference has come to an agreement that they will pay, teams a little bit more that are obviously doing better as far as ratings are concerned, TV ratings and things of that nature. But it's nothing in comparison to the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten. And I don't see I don't see that changing. I don't. They are literally walking away from the ACC, the Big 12, and obviously every other, you know, minor conference under that. Once again, man, you're gonna have to stink and keep up, dude. You're gonna have to stink and keep up, man. You have to keep up, or you will get left behind. Now, this is a big thing for me, okay? Because we talked about the tradition, the Duke, the NC State, the Wake Forest, the Virginia, and I still think, that we can schedule them in the non-con. Bro, I'm thinking about new big time rivalries. Now, one of the things that I'm really in love with about college football, dude, I've always been infatuated with border wars. Bro, a good border war, man, there is nothing in the world better than a stinking good border war, dude. Oklahoma, Nebraska. Oklahoma, Texas, man, the Red River shootout, dude. Florida, Georgia, the world's biggest cocktail party or whatever the heck that thing is stinking called. Sometimes I got to work that thing. Texas, Arkansas, Oregon, Washington, Minnesota, Wisconsin. When the flagships of each state collide at the border, bro, goodness gracious, man, it does something to me. I love it. I love it. How does this sound? It sounds great to me. North Carolina, South Carolina annually. North Carolina, Tennessee. North Carolina, Georgia. Hell, if the SEC were to take the SEC or UVA, Carolina, Virginia, man, in the South's oldest rivalry, SEC matchup, dude. Border war. I love them. I want more of them. That's just me personally, bro. I love it. I'm territorial. I like it. I like the hostility, man. I like it.
Love you, my brother. Hash Huddle Huygens for life.
I love you too, bro. Huddle Hooligans for life, man. I appreciate you, Hutch. And let me get you here on the board real quick, man. My man, Hutch, dude. We're going to have a stinking blast, bro. We're going to have a stinking blast. Let me get Hutch on the board here, man. I appreciate you for the 1999, brother. I really do. And I can't wait to stink and chill with you on Sunday, dude. You have no idea, Hutch. You have no idea, brother. I appreciate you, man, for the super chat, brother. Appreciate you for the super chat. We're going to have a stinking blast, man. Big time rivalries, dude. Border wars. I love them. I want more of them. It's what drives me, dude. I like it. I like the territorial battles, man. I love it. And so when people are worried about, oh, we're going to lose NC State, we're going to lose Duke, we're going to lose Wake Forest, we're going to lose UVA, we might bring UVA to the stinking SEC. I don't know. We're not going to lose NC State or Duke. You know that we will always have them in the non-con. You know that. But the opportunities and the exposure that comes with playing Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, dude, and border wars would be just monumental for the stinking program, dude. I truly believe that in my heart, man, and it gets my stinking blood running, man. I like it. That's what I like. That's what I like. That's the college football that I want to see, man. That's the college football that I want to see. This is what we really got to think about. And I'm kind of honing in on the college football here. I'm a little partial right now because we're about to get into to college football season. I will definitely incorporate college basketball here in a second. But have you seen how bad the ACC was last year compared to the Southeastern Conference? I hate to say that. There was a time, bro, when I was the main one chanting ACC, ACC, ACC. And I always thought that it was kind of like here. It's kind of here, right? Maybe SEC right here, maybe ACC right here, just a little bit, not nearly as much as they thought. And it seems like the spacing now is just getting more and more and more. And it bothers me. It bothers me to the point where I feel like something needs to be done. I feel like something needs to be done to remain relevant. All right. Like I said, That's on the football side. What about the basketball side? All my basketball heads out there, my basketball only Carolina fans. How bad was the Atlantic Coast Conference last year? And how great was the SEC last year? It's crazy. We're losing recruits to those schools, man. Why? Because of money. Because of money. I'm just saying, man. You're going to need all the money that you can get to compete with the best. It's a different landscape now. How about recruiting? I'm telling you right now, dude. I am telling you right now. Kids want to play in the SEC and kids want to play in the Big Ten, but they especially want to play in the Southeastern Conference. You ask all these kids, man, why did Bo Atkinson leave? Bo Atkinson left because he wanted to play in the P2. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? We're losing some of our allegedly best players because guys want to play in the P2. And then we're just like, well, we're just, we're good. No. I disagree with that sentiment. I disagree with that sentiment. Recruiting. Kids want to play in the SEC. Okay. Now, Mac had some success before the landscape changed. And I promise you, I'm almost done with my stinking little rant, dude. Mac had some stinking success. Okay. But the landscape changed after Mac took the job. And that's where we got left behind. Now, Bill's done well thus far. Okay. But we are still hemorrhaging talent from this talent-rich state. 10, half of the top 20 kids in North Carolina in the updated rankings in 2025 went either to the SEC or the Big Ten. Half of them. And there are the big four in North Carolina. Guess what? I think North Carolina had 2, maybe State had 2, and Duke had 1. Out of the top 5, the 5 out of the 10, excuse me. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. The number 1 player in the entire country this year was based out of Charlotte. Faison. Where'd he go? Tennessee. I wonder why. Probably a multitude of reasons. But that patch in 2025, that thing on the 25-yard line, okay, that says ACC or SEC or Big Ten, it means something, bro. It means something to these kids, man. They want to play big-time football. And whether you think that there's a difference or not is irrelevant. The kids think there's a difference. The kids think there's a difference, okay? And last but not least, the slogan. Now, this is going to bother a bunch of people, man. This is going to bother a bunch of people. And like I said, there was a time where I was hell-bent. I was adamant that this couldn't be further from the stinking truth. The slogan. Now, I want you guys to know, and I think most of you do, football and basketball mean the world to me. Okay? Football and basketball are my 2 favorite sports. Football by far number 1. Basketball is number 2. And then, I do like baseball. But it's the slogan. And the slogan for the SEC, and gosh, but look, man, I feel like a turncoat to a certain extent saying it. But it's the truth. It's the truth. It's 2025, man. Let's stay in reality. The slogan in the SEC is it just means more. Now, listen, Carolina football and basketball, like I said, dude, it's a lifestyle for me, okay? Literally, God, family, country, my last name, the great state of North Carolina, Carolina football and basketball. I just gave you Russ the Tar Heel, bro. I just gave you Russ the Tar Heel. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to look where competition and true passion and love for the competition, the rivalries and everything is happening at the highest level. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. Not in 2025. It does not take a rocket scientist to see where the best of the best are congregating and they're going to war. Okay. And that's where a brand like the University of North Carolina should be. It should be in the majors. If there is a P2, there is no reason that the University of North Carolina is not in said P2. Okay? And that's me just pouring my heart out and what I believe, man. And I'm sorry that lasted a lot longer than I anticipated it doing, man. But those are the reasons why I believe personally that Carolina should eventually leave the Atlantic Coast Conference. It's not necessarily bad if they go here, but for a lot of the reasons why I just stated, this is where I want to be. I want to be right here. I want to be right here in 2025. 2020, Russ the Tar Heel wouldn't have said this. 2025, Russ the Tar Heel, you got to roll with the punches, bro. Sometimes the truth hurts. It's ugly. It hurts. But it's the truth. Okay? It's the truth, man. At least, in my humble opinion, that's where we're at. So, phone lines are open, man. I want you guys, if you can, give me a call, dude. I want to know what Tar Heel Nation thinks on this thing, man. I want to know, if we got some SEC guys in here and everything like that. Like, I'm genuinely interested in what your understanding of this whole restructuring thing is for the University of North Carolina. Really hoping we get some calls, man, because I think this is an interesting topic. And it's a very polarizing topic. There is a battle right now, dude, for the soul of North Carolina. I figured it would be you first, Hutch, man. What's going on, big dog? How you doing?
Russ, it's Hutch, brother. I got to call in and give you my 2 cents, brother.
What's up, brother? Talk to me, Goose.
First off, man, I wanted to say, man, like, you and I are very, very similar. You know that you and I are friends because we love college football. We love America. We're God-fearing men. Our last name, character, honor, integrity mean every single thing to us.
Right.
I will say this, and everything I'm about to say, you got to understand, dude, like, I'm not born in North Carolina. I found you basically in a really dark time where you and I have had conversations where the woman I love more than anything on the planet is a daughter of North Carolina.
Right.
And, I've been to the state. I love the state. It is the most beautiful place on earth. I absolutely adore it. And you guys, man, Dennis, Daryl, Preston, Scott, Ryan, all the Huddle hooligans, love y'all. Expletive deleteds are the best. And anybody watching this channel, you honestly need to get in the Discord because it's the best group of guys out there, man. That being said, man, I'm gonna, I called in last year, I think it was for the Virginia game, and I kind of laid out why I think North Carolina to the SEC is a bad idea. And I literally laid out the facts of two schools, and it's Texas A&M, who has all the money in the world. They literally get $350 million a year from an oil reserve in West Texas, and they've had top 5 classes in one of the states that produces the most talent in the country. They're 9 games over 500 in the SEC. You go to South Carolina. South Carolina's 40 games under 500 since they joined the SEC in '92. And I'm not trying to crap on what you said. Like, you're going through all these schools Carolina's beat. You're going back 30 years, and it's not relevant. It's like saying, like, so-and-so beat this team. And I'm like, dude, Pitt in '93 was absolute garbage. Like, I think high school teams would beat Pitt in '93.
Right.
There is an irrelevancy. So, and I will say this as a fan of a program. And full disclosure, I grew up, I'm from Pittsburgh. I grew up in Pittsburgh. In the 80s, I was probably more a Penn fan just because my grandfather, who was like Hercules to me, World War II veteran, lost his hand in Normandy, was a Penn State alumni. And, they were good. So I was sort of more of a Penn State fan at that point, and kind of like transitioned to being a Pitt fan in my teen years. And, that rivalry's gone. it doesn't exist anymore. Like, they literally didn't play for 16 years from 2000 to 2016. They had a 4-year contract, and it's gone. And there's nothing that's going to bring it back. And you earlier in, your rant, I'm not saying it's a rant, but your whole diatribe, you talked about the backyard brawl. The brawl hasn't been played. Like, we got literally the last 4 years. It hadn't been played since 2012.
Right.
I live in Texas, and it's like the Texas A&M rivalry was dormant for 12 years. Like, one of the greatest rivalries in college sports was dormant for 12 years when A&M went to the SEC. And that's a whole other, if you know anything about it, and I wish I could find the article. I remember reading something, and it was from an LA Times article in 1989 talking about how the Southwest Conference was dying. The handwriting was on the wall, and with SMU's death penalty, teams were looking for a way out. And it was Texas looked at the Pac-12 or the Pac-10. Let's call it the Pac-12. It was the Pac-10, and they were looking at the SEC. They contacted the SEC and asked, like, hey, what's the interest level? And the SEC was like, hey, the interest level's high. But Texas politics was A&M basically was like, hey, you take the Longhorns, you take us. But the SEC was like, we don't want you, which is ironic because they ended up taking them 22 years later.
Right.
And that's how it all ended up getting screwed up, was Texas politics, where the SEC went, all right, screw y'all. We're going to take Arkansas, who isn't governed by Texas politics. We can get Arkansas in the West and go to South Carolina. And there's our 12 teams. We can split to 2 divisions and have our championship game. The other thing that I'll say is that it's, I basically for the last decade, like in the mid-2000s, from like 2013 to about 2018, I had really dear friends that were season ticket holders at Ole Miss. If y'all haven't been to the Grove, anybody listening to this, go to the Grove. It is the mecca of tailgating. There's not a better game day experience in the world than Oxford, Mississippi on a college football Saturday. Thank me later. Literally. It is one of the most picturesque towns, one of the most beautiful southern towns. There's not a better tailgate you will ever have in your life. So that being said, going to these games, like I talked to a bunch of people, and it's, a lot of the fans that were my age, that I'm damn near 50, even some of the younger fans, they lament the fact that the SEC has a bunch of teams they don't want. It's like they don't want to play Texas A&M. They don't want to play Texas. They don't want to play Missouri. They're angry they're not playing Tennessee. They're not playing Florida or Georgia on a yearly basis. They're playing half the Southwest Conference, and they don't care. Like, here's the thing, Russ. In the last couple of days, like, I get bored. I'll surf Instagram, and Instagram, reading the comments of all the things that I saw on Carolina to the SEC. And this is not, I'm just, don't shoot the messenger. 90 to 95% of the comments on Carolina to the SEC were, we do not blank and want them. We don't want Texas and Oklahoma. Take A&M and Missouri with them and get them out of the SEC.
Right.
So the fact that you think that they're going to be a rival with Tennessee doesn't see you as a rival. The SEC looks at you as an inferior opponent that does not deserve to be in the conference.
But I like that.
And I'm not saying this to be horrible. I'm just stating facts.
Yeah.
Because all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you guys, look, you guys are like brothers to me. You've made me a Carolina fan, but I'm not going to look at it with blinded eyes. I'm going to give you this is what I'm seeing. This is what I see. This is what literally, like, all of the outside entities look at you. Tennessee doesn't see you as a rivalry.
Right.
Like, Tennessee's rivals are the third Saturday in October, Alabama and Florida. That's their rivals. You might have a rivalry with South Carolina just based on the fact that South Carolina was an ACC team that literally, left because of you and the 4 other schools in the ACC because your academic standards were higher than the SEC. Clemson was supposed to leave with them, didn't. The other thing I'll say is, as someone who lives in Texas, where North Carolina has a great deal of influence in the ACC. You go to the SEC, you got nothing. Like, nothing. You are a peon. And that's the thing that Texas tried to do in the Big 12. And they're trying to do it in the SEC, and the SEC guy is kind of looking at them like, no, it doesn't work like that here, fam. That's not reality, dude.
Right.
It's not going to look at it. So, again, someone who, the team that I grew up rooting for, like, you think you can get Duke, you think you can get NC State. That's not a foregone conclusion. It's not a foregone conclusion that you can get those teams in non-conference. You're going to lose traditional rivalries, and you're going after teams that don't really care about you.
Right.
Now, again, I'm going to say this, whereas I don't think any of this matters because I think the money is going to dictate what happens. Like, literally. I think this is a foregone conclusion. As someone who loves college football more than almost anything and appreciates the history and the fact that it is the most historic game in American history, Princeton and Rutgers were playing when U.S. Grant was in the White House. I mean, you look at the tradition and history of this game where Lafayette and Lehigh in Pennsylvania have met 140 times. You have Minnesota and Wisconsin, that's the longest running rivalry in 1A. They've met literally, I think, every year since 1895 without interruption.
Right.
And I hate what it's become. I loathe it. I loathe the mega conferences. I loathe that it has become NFL Junior. I hate that you have all these idiots that think college football was created in 2005 and know nothing of the history and tradition of it. And they literally want it to be garbage NFL. It's literally, we should have 30-team conferences because you want USC playing Penn State. And honestly, man, it's like I look at it, and the fact that USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington are in the Big Ten is just, it's vomit-inducing because those are teams that should be beating the Big Ten or playing the Big Ten in the Rose Bowl. Again, man, I realize I'm in the minority, and I'm just here kind of giving you an alternate viewpoint, but I'm also sad because it's something that college football has been something that's been a beacon in my life for a very long time. And it's seen me through a lot of dark times where I had it to lean on. And I literally hate what it's become. It's become all of the worst things about it's the worst parts of the NFL, the worst parts of Major League Baseball, which is the economic structure with this NIL BS. And it used to be that there were kids who dreamed of playing for North Carolina because they wanted to be a Tar Heel because that meant something. And for the rest of their life, you were a Tar Heel. Right. I got a buddy of mine who played for Texas in the late 90s, and that was his dream, was to be a Longhorn, because when you were a Longhorn and you earned that, that meant something. You won a Cotton Bowl in Texas. You were like royalty. And now it's all about money. It's all about what you can pay me. It's all about money. And I get that me sitting here talking about it is not going to change it. I'm just saying it's literally a tragedy to me on every single level. So, like I said, I've said that the two biggest examples I have for why Carolina is not going to succeed in the SEC is Texas A&M and South Carolina. You look at, you can talk about Maryland, where Maryland has a good talent pool. If you look at what Maryland has in the Baltimore and DC area, they produce. They're a lot like New Jersey. They produce a ton of talent that does not stay in state.
Right.
And they're now in the Big Ten, and they're just an afterthought. But they're getting paid. They're an afterthought. It's my thing is, I think if you go to the SEC, you're not going to compete with. You're going to be, and I'll give you the example. If Pitt was to go to the Big Ten, which is not going to happen because they don't need Pitt, they already have the Pennsylvania market. And even if they did, Penn State would veto it. And to me, Pitt is along the lines, they would be Minnesota. They would be an 8-win team on a good year. They'd be literally trying to get the bowl eligibility because they're not going to beat Michigan. They're not going to beat Penn State. They're not going to beat Ohio State year in, year out. They played Iowa and Michigan State non-conference and were competitive, but you're going to be in that middle range. And I think that's where North Carolina is, because you look at the SEC and you look at some of these teams, and it's like, I'm sorry, like if you look at it as an objective person, you're not on par with Texas. You're not on par with Georgia. You're not on par with Tennessee. You're not on par with Ole Miss. You're not at that level. You're not on level with Alabama. You're not on level. Like, literally, you're in that. I'm trying to think of the best comparison that I could say is, you're in that mid-level. You're almost Auburn without the pedigree. And
Right.
I'll look at it, Russ, and you look at all of the teams in the SEC. You look at Auburn. Auburn's won a national title, and they're mediocre. Florida's won a national title in the last 20 years, 2, and they've become mediocre.
Right.
Alabama, it's this meat grinder of a conference where you can win a national title and then be 6-6 4 or 5 years later.
Right.
And I don't think that North Carolina has. You don't have and look, I love Kenan Stadium, love it, absolutely adore it. It's not Neyland Stadium. It's not the cockpit at South Carolina. It's all of those are recruiting tools. You're going to play in 85,000, 100,000. You look at Kyle Field. Kyle Field's 110,000. It's up to 108, 110,000. Those are all recruiting tools. Carolina doesn't have that. That's what you're competing against. Again, man, it's like I said, I think you're a better fit for the Big Ten because of the academics. And unless Carolina is ready to sacrifice academics to compete in the SEC, if you're recruiting a kid and that kid is like, hey, look, I can go to Tennessee, I can go to South Carolina, I can't qualify at North Carolina, where's that kid going?
Right.
Funny story, man. I'm not trying to monopolize your show. I love college football. I love talking about it. The great Irk Russell, who, if you know anything about Irk Russell was the architect of the Junkyard Dogs, the Georgia defense in the 70s and 80s. And, it's one of my favorite stories. I used to teach this to my kids when I coached. Was in 1975, we went to the AFC convention, and he had a defense in 1975 at Georgia where their defensive line averaged 208 pounds across the front. And
It's little.
he talked about how he had our original Junkyard Dogs starting cast. We had a whole bunch of rejects. We had, a Junkyard Dog is one who is often a reject or run a litter. No one wants him and he's hungry. We had 4 running backs, 3 quarterbacks in our original Junkyard Dogs starting cast, which weighed 208 pounds across the front in the SEC. Even in the 70s, 208 across your starting front 4 is insane. But he built a hell of a defense, and that was the whole mentality of it. When he left Georgia, he went to Georgia Southern and turned them into a powerhouse. They had a dormant program for 50 years. He won 3 FCS titles in his first 5 years at Georgia Southern.
Right.
And he talked about how he kind of came up with he had a whole bunch of stuff at Georgia that had GATA, and it stood for get after their asses. But he hated Georgia Tech. And in every one of their, playbooks, whatever it was, run 4 miles, hate Georgia Tech 5 times. It was all this stuff where the whole point of this is that he, when he was recruiting, he would get kids that were like, I'm on the fence. I might go to Georgia Tech. I like Georgia, but I might go to Tech. He would give them the math book that they had to pass. Like, here's the math book you need to pass to graduate Tech. And he'd just laugh and go, I'll see you in the fall.
Right.
And there it is. I brought this up when I called in last year. The entire football team at Georgia Tech has a higher SAT score than the entire student body at South Carolina. So unless North Carolina is ready to sacrifice its ideals, sacrifice its academics, you're going to be Vanderbilt in the SEC. Like, you fit the Big Ten because the Big Ten has those academic profiles. You're going to fit it. Now, I think both fit because both want you because of TV. This is all television. And there's
100%.
nothing more that the Big Ten would want is to come into, quote unquote, the South, the Southeast, and take the public Ivy, which is Virginia, North Carolina, and bring them into the Big Ten. But the issue is that you're losing all those real rivalries because, I'm sorry, dude, nobody in the Big Ten or the SEC really cares about you. And I hate saying that. I'm just saying that as a fan of a program that has no rivals left. Like, the only thing we have remotely close to Syracuse, and that's only because we've met every year since 1955. We don't play West Virginia. We don't play Penn State. And y'all don't care about us. We're just another school on the schedule. you know.
That's fair enough, man. I mean, it is. It's fair enough, Hutch. I don't. What I would say is, just far as the teams that I was saying could become rivals, which South Carolina is a natural rival. Um, they don't like
That I
us.
would agree.
We don't like them. I understand about the
Right.
Tennessee thing. I understand about the Georgia thing. Um, and I would say that this literally. Sorry, my son's in here going ham on
No,
this
you're good.
video game.
You're good, bro.
What I was gonna say is that nobody cares. Nobody cares, because I understand how the SEC looks in North Carolina, especially on the football field, right?
Right.
No one cares until you start taking belt to ass. And I know that people are gonna laugh about that. And I know that Tennessee fans are going to laugh about that, and Georgia fans will laugh about that. But the only reason that I brought it up is because the last time that they played either of those programs, some of the best programs in that conference, it's not like it was just some ass whooping. Carolina beat Tennessee. And Carolina had a chance to beat Georgia in 2016. If Carolina was full strength in 2010, they would have beat LSU. And who knows what they would have done that year. The point is that, I believe wholeheartedly in my soul, that, under Butch Davis, when they started to become more of a football program with a football culture, this was a different Carolina team, man. This wasn't Larry Fedora. It wasn't, Mac Brown in the later years or anything like that. It was a football culture. And because of the talent that was comprised under the right coaching staff, Carolina became a force to reckon with. And unfortunately, obviously, they had the investigation that kind of derailed what 2010 could have possibly been. But every major outlet was saying that Carolina was a dark horse national title contender. And to lose by 6 with an incomplete pass away from beating LSU in the opener, and then who knows what would have happened after that. My point is that I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that Carolina is incapable of competing. And I don't think that with Carolina finally fully investing into the football program with a guy like Bill Belichick at the helm, let's say that he's able to make this work. I fully believe that Carolina can rise from mediocre to, the Oregon of the East Coast. I really believe that. I believe that it has that capability with the resources, the talent within the state, the money that they're putting into the program, the coaching staff at the helm. If all the stars align, we are more than capable. Now, if we're looking at...
Here's, again.
Go ahead, brother.
Again, my disagreement is that it's a lot like saying, hey, I have, I've got a scar in 308 and, my opponent has a saw 249, where it's, yeah, you may have some great firepower. And my point and my counter to that is like, yes, you have great talent in the state of South Carolina or in North Carolina. So does South Carolina. South Carolina, like, they've got great talent, and per capita, they produce a ton of it. I live in one of the most talent-rich states in America. And we have a program that's an SEC program that has unlimited resources, insane money. And they've literally, for the last 10 years, have top 5 classes every year, and they're mediocre. They are 9 games above 500 in the conference.
Right.
With literally, a lot of times that's not what you do and what you have. You're going into a conference where literally everyone has what you have and more. That's my point. You're not going into the American. You're not going into the Pac-2. You're not going into one of these things where, yes, that means something. You're going into where everybody has what you have and better. That's my whole point of it.
Right.
Is I could sit here and say, like, yes, Pitt could go to the Big Ten. They're mediocre. I don't think they're ever going to win a Big Ten title. They're never going to be a power. I know that. I understand it. It's literally like they can get all of it because they're competing against Penn State. They're competing for the longest time. And again, those that don't know, Western Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh produces a amazing amount of talent.
Of course.
The WPIAL, the Western Pennsylvania Intercollegiate or Interscholastic Athletic Association, has produced nothing but Division I talent for literally the last 50 or 60 years.
Right.
At one point, there were 60 players in the NFL that were born within a 50-mile radius of Pittsburgh. 60. It's a who's who of, but if you look at in the 90s and the early 2000s, how many left the state? How many went and played for Michigan State? If they were staying in state, it was Penn State. How many Ohio State kids were Western Pennsylvania kids? So that being said, it's like, I don't think that you can't keep kids in state. It's that you're literally gonna be competing against some of the best football producing talent.
That's what I want.
In the country.
And see, me personally, Hutch, I want to shoot my shot, man. You know, I want to compete against the best. And if we don't measure up, then we don't measure up. But I think the worst thing that you can do, and it's just in life, period. It's in life, period. I mean, I think this is a great life lesson right here. Shoot your shot, man. You got a shot, bro, take it. Because if you don't take it, then you have to live with the fact that you didn't take it. And, you know, the scope of the landscape of college football has changed. And because it's changed, you know, if you want to be the best, you may not end up being the best. But you've got to take your shot, man. You can't let the clock run out with the ball in your hands.
I would agree with that in a lot of different arenas where I would agree with it. And you're a military guy, you know, and one of the things that I've learned in you know, one thing for like the first things that they teach you in officer candidate school is you don't fight battles you can't win. And I just, like, for me, I look at it, you're not going to be on the par of LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee. It's like you don't have that.
But
and
then when do you implement?
I understand that.
When do you implement the whole idea,
dying.
though, Hutch? When do you implement the whole idea of going out on your shield, bro? Go out on your shield, man.
But there's not a lot of. I don't see honor in that. I don't see honor in going out on your shield when you literally can find another way. Like, to me, it's like one of those things where it's like you don't go into certain battles where it's like you went in here and you lost and it's somehow honorable when it's like, no, he was an idiot. Like, you went into this battle, there's honor in something where you go out and it's, you are, you know, you go into that school and somebody's killing kids and you go out there and by yourself and you go out there and I'm going to stop a shooter and you die. Great.
Right.
That's not what this is. And again, I keep saying it. I understand that the ACC is probably like, this is all a foregone conclusion. I know Preston is like sitting there and he's going off right now and he's literally like, the dude is just like, he's pulling up his Fluger videos and whatever else. We're going to the SEC. I get it. I understand. Like, I totally understand that. My point is I'm trying to say why I think it's a horrible idea. And I do. I do. And to be completely honest, like, part of it, like I said, is me. I hate what the super conferences have become. I hate what college football has become.
Right.
I loathe the NIL. I hate the mega conferences. It's an abomination to me. I can't stop it. I know I can't stop it. All I'm saying is that it's literally, I hate what college football has become because it's literally destroying what made it college football.
Right.
Like, I rarely watch the NFL anymore. The NFL has become it's really not a good product. It really isn't.
I agree.
If I sit here and I try to watch a game on Sunday, it's boring. It's uninteresting. It's trash.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's nothing in the world like a college football Saturday, and there's nothing in the world like honest, genuine rivals, honest, genuine rivalries. And what this game was based on was regional supremacy, regional rivalries, and we're throwing that all away. And you cannot discount the fact that when you throw those away, you've lost a lot of what this game is. I'm sorry, dude. I don't want to watch Oregon play Rutgers. I don't want to watch North Carolina play Missouri or Texas. I don't.
Right.
It's a garbage game. I want to watch North Carolina play NC State, Wake Forest, and Duke, and Virginia.
Or Tennessee or South Carolina or Georgia.
I will say South Carolina. Georgia doesn't give, like, Georgia. you're a joke to Georgia. You're
I
a
know we
joke to
are. I
Tennessee.
know.
You're not a rival. They don't care.
But
I think
like
South
that.
Carolina's a rival because they still hate you for what you did to them 50 years ago when they left the conference.
Right.
That's different. And here's the thing, man. I'll look at it and like, I got a buddy, and I've told you, he's an old 19 kilo. He's a tanker. He's got an IQ of about 70. I mean, I love him to death, but he thinks USC is South Carolina, and I'm like, dude, the real USC has given up more Heisman trophies and national titles than you've ever won. You're an ACC reject that is an afterthought in the SEC.
Right. I agree with that.
You know, USC. I'm like, dude, you're a moron. You're a moron. But the thing is that it's like they literally still have a great rivalry with Clemson. That's their rival. You know, it's their rival isn't anybody in the SEC. It's literally a non-conference opponent in state.
Right.
So, granted, yes, gratefully they play them every year. It's one of the great. I mean, to me, that's one of the more underrated rivalries in college football. Like it's if you said name 3 of the off the radar college football rivalries that aren't in the top 10 for the most part, it's a backyard brawl. I'm sorry, it's Pitt and West Virginia. It's the Egg Bowl. It's Ole Miss and Mississippi State and South Carolina and Clemson. And I'm grateful that, you know, for the most part, 2 of those rivalries are still almost every year. It's, you know, Pitt and West Virginia. They're going to have a hiatus. This is the last year of the contract. They meet again in 2029. Hopefully with Rich Rod, it becomes an every year rivalry. But the thing is that it's like I don't want this to be the NFL, and it's becoming the NFL. And I get what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying, Hutch. We already know, brother, where it's going. So because we know where it's going and there's no way to stop it, there's nothing that me or you are going to be able to do to stop it from where it's going. What is the best thing for the University of North Carolina? I mean, you know, I understand. I can understand you saying, hey, stay in the ACC, try to become, the next Clemson, just dominate the Atlantic Coast Conference, get to the stinking CFP that way. And I'm not even necessarily opposed to that per se, except for the variables that I put in place already with the money, the discrepancy in the money, the discrepancies with, where these kids want to play.
Right.
You know, and that's one of my biggest things is if you're, like I said, man, I really don't give 2 rips what Georgia or Tennessee think about me. I like. It's just, you know, when we see each other in Chapel Hill, Hutch, I like, you know, that you look at me and you say, "Ah, bro, you're 5'7", bro. You know, you're a little dude. You're a little dude. I'm not worried about you." I like that. Because when I put it to you, I'm going to shut you up on the stinking football field. I like that. So the fact that Georgia doesn't look at me or look at Carolina and say, "Oh, you're a legitimate football team," or Tennessee says, "Oh, you're not a legitimate football," or even South Carolina, you know, who we have a winning record against, "You're not a legitimate football program." I don't care, because when we step out on that football field, I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to shut your mouth.
That's my point, Russ. They haven't. You haven't won an ACC title since 1980, and Georgia won national titles.
I got it, brother.
That's my point. Now, again, you're right. Like, this is all the wheels are in motion. It's going to happen whether I like it or not. And I can sit here and I think the question is, where does the rest of the ACC go? What happens to the ACC and Big 12? Because you're going to have a bunch of Power 4, Power whatever programs that are now left in, I hate to say, the ashes. Where do they go? What happens? And I think that's my thing. Whereas instead of North Carolina, Virginia, whatever, going to the SEC or the Big Ten, would they be better off somehow finding some alliance with the Big 12? Like, is there something where the Big 12 and the ACC come together and form some sort of conference?
But are there big enough schools in the Big 12 to even make it generate any kind of buzz?
I mean, you have Colorado, you have Texas Tech, which has a ton of money. You've got, SMU. I mean, you've got a lot of schools that have a ton of money. TCU. I mean, there's a lot of money and influence in the Big 12. It's if you understand Texas, there's yes, you have the bigger state schools, but a lot of those smaller private schools have an insane amount of cash, insane amount of money. And again, academically, I think a lot of those schools fit the academic footprint of the ACC.
And see, once again, and maybe I didn't dispel this at the beginning, and I know that the alums are going to hate me for this. I'm coming to this strictly as a fan. Like when people say, hey, the Big Ten's a better fit, Carolina's an AAU school, academics are a big thing. Obviously it is. It's one of the better public institutions in the country.
Which it is.
Yeah. So the same with UVA, obviously. But
yep.
I personally don't care about that. I care about football and basketball. That's it. I don't care about – all I care is that you have a GPA that makes you eligible and that you get your degree where you can play football on Saturdays. And I know that's not, maybe a very popular opinion, but – I'm not worried about the academics. I'm not even worried about the Olympic sports. I'm worried about football and basketball and what's best for the program moving forward to be great.
Russ, you're preaching to the choir, dude. I haven't watched the Olympics, and I don't know how long. I don't care about the Olympic sports at all. I mean, that sounds bad. And here's the thing, man. I don't want to drone on because I want other people to call in. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to.
Hey, you're good. This is a good conversation. You're always great, Hutch.
But,
so.
Here's the thing, man, and here's the last thing that I will kind of say is that, if you look at what the fact that anybody could think basketball has really any relevance anymore, it doesn't. It hasn't. If you go back and I will say, watch and it's a fantastic 30 for 30 Requiem for the Big East on ESPN, and they talk about the Big East was a basketball conference. It was a preeminent basketball conference in the 80s, and literally they just were in this bubble of they didn't realize that, look, you're sort of irrelevant. Yes, you're the best basketball conference in the country. Football drives college athletics.
Right.
It always has. It always will.
100%.
And that's not up for debate. It's not up for debate. So, that being said, it's going forward, it's I would want North Carolina, and the thing is, I've always seen them like you do. I've always, and I think I've talked about this in a previous call-in where it's I never understood why they weren't a giant. I never understood, dude, you're literally in the South. You're in a state that produces a bunch of talent. You're surrounded by talent-producing states, and it was always this emphasis on basketball, and that's not relevant. And I hate to say that. And it's you look at Kentucky, and it's Kentucky's this afterthought in the SEC because it's basketball with the end-all be-all. That's not going to happen. You're not able to do that anymore. So, going forward, it's I literally, it saddens me on every front. And again, this is personal. It's a personal, I hate what college football has become. I've literally voiced it from the entire point of this conversation. I want the ACC. I want the Pac-12, Pac-10. I want the Big East. I want all those. Literally, I wanted to go back to 1994 when everything was white in college football.
Right.
And, I get that that's not ever going to happen. And I hate ESPN. I hate Fox for what they've done to the college game. All this is done from them. It's literally them having and I know it's a family show. It's a male member measuring contest, and they've destroyed one of the greatest institutions in American sports. Literally, there's no way that the SEC should have 2024 teams. There's no way that Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA, and Rutgers and Maryland should be in the effing Big Ten. It's a joke. An absolute effing joke.
I agree, brother. I agree.
So.
I agree. Gosh, man, I appreciate you.
But I say this, man, I can't change it. You can't change it. I say this because I don't want North Carolina to become just an afterthought in the SEC. I don't.
Right.
I want you guys to become what I hope you become, which is, a sleeping Southern giant. I don't think that's going to happen in the SEC. And it's like, you guys, like Russ, you're like a brother, man. I've never met you in the world, man, but you're like a brother to me. And all the hooligans, I love all you fuckers. I love y'all. It's like, literally, I want you guys to be successful. I just don't see it happening in the SEC, and that's for the reasons I've laid out. So the ACC might die. I just don't see being successful playing against the Alabama, Georgias, Tennessees, Floridas, Michigan, Ohio States, whatever you're going to play each year. So, anyway, man, Russ, I literally a month, man. We're gonna be hanging out.
Oh, dude, a month, bro. Hey, that's Sunday.
I owe you more than a couple beers.
That's Sunday, dude. Me and you, a couple brewskis, bro. We're gonna be sitting there watching college football, and we're gonna have one of the great. Listen, I told you, dude. I am almost as excited to hang out with you on Sunday as I am for Monday, bro. Dude, I cannot stinking wait for that, Hutch, dude. We're gonna have a great time, brother. We're gonna have a great time.
We go and light it up, brother.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
We're gonna light it up, brother.
Yeah, we are, man. All right, man. I appreciate you, Hutch.
Guaranteed. All right, Preston, call your ass in, dude. I'm out.
All right, brother. My man, stinking Hutch, man. One of the best dudes I stinking never met, dude. I can't wait to finally get him. Get him in real life, man. Give me a call, dude. Give me a call. Listen, I got to give Hutch all the time in the world, man, because Hutch is an encyclopedia. He's an encyclopedia, man. The dude knows what he's talking about. And even though we may disagree on this specific point or where Carolina should go, I greatly value Hutch's perspective, man. It's great outside perspective, man. You're on the phone with Russ the Tar Heel. Who am I speaking to?
You're speaking to Bryson.
Bryson, okay. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I just wanted to talk about, if we're going, the SEC or Big Ten.
Okay. What you got, buddy? What do you think?
I think it's not going to be any time, recently. Maybe, 10, 15 years we'll go to either, SEC, something like that. I think we'll stay in the SEC for, a decade. Then we'll move on.
So you think we'll be in the Atlantic Coast Conference for another at least 10 years?
Maybe 5, 10 years, maybe.
5, 10 years. Okay. And are you happy with that, Bryson? Or do you think that would you like us to move or do you want us to stay forever?
I think I'll enjoy the move because better competition means more people want to come to our school because it's a better conference and we'll just beat more teams.
I agree with you, Bryson. I agree, man. I agree. Okay. So you think that it's now, would you rather Carolina move to the SEC or the Big Ten since you think they should leave the ACC eventually?
Oh, that's a tough one, but honestly, I think Big Ten because there's still good teams in the Big Ten, but there's not as many good teams, so I think we'll win more games. So we would get to the championship, go to the playoffs. It would be more easier than SEC.
Okay, and I think that's fair, man. I do think that's fair, Bryson. That's a good point, man, because you got Ohio State, Michigan in the Big Ten, and then after that, maybe Penn State, right? And then after that, it's kind of like everybody else is kind of mid. So that's a good point, buddy. That's a good point, man.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Well, I appreciate the call, Bryson.
Well, thank you. I can't wait for that Monday game.
I can't wait for the Monday game either, brother. Go Heels.
Go Heels.
All right, Bryson.
Thanks for talking.
All right, buddy. Thank you for calling in, man. Have a good night, brother.
You're welcome.
All right.
You too.
All right, later. How about Bryson, man? Good call, dude. I like it. I like it. Bryson said maybe go to the Big Ten because it's a little bit easier road to the CFP. My only problem with the Big Ten guys is just like honestly, man, I just don't see the teams outside of Michigan and Ohio State that I would be extremely excited to play. And even then, with the Michigan and Ohio State, it kind of be like, you know, that's cool, but there's no regionalness there's no history between the programs. The one thing that I admire about the Southeastern Conference right now is the fact that it's still geographically centered in one area. It's not just like this Conference USA. I like the fact that it's geographically centered in the Southeast for the most part. You're on the phone with Russ. Who am I speaking to?
What's going on, Russ?
Hey, if it isn't Nick, our favored Wolfpacker.
Yes, it
what's going on,
is.
brother?
Hey, how's it going, brother? How's your Sunday rolling?
It's good, man. I've worked a lot today, and then I'm sitting here hanging out with you fine folks, man. So what you got, Nick?
Oh, well, first things first, I want to say congratulations for getting this opportunity to go to the SEC. Not a lot of teams get this offer, but it's a really big step up from Carolina going all the way from the ACC to SEC. And I understand personally that the ACC is slowly dying. Like, over the past few years, it just hasn't been the same anymore.
Right.
Because SEC, as we've seen and played, and honestly coming from us, how we played Tennessee, yeah, they're a good football program. I feel like a lot of teams in that conference, more kids want to go there. More kids want to do that. They're going to pay more. And that's what sucks in today's football world is
right.
Money speaks everything, bro. I know.
Yeah, the kids want to play in the Southeastern Conference, man. I mean, and that's why they'll go to any school in the SEC because they can say, "Hey, I'm playing SEC football."
I know, man.
I don't like
it's
it
rough.
either. I don't like it either. And so I guess that's kind of what the question is when do you relinquish your pride in the Atlantic Coast Conference for, this is just what's better monetarily, fan base wise, and just once again, man, I can't stress this enough. I really do believe that you should shoot for the stars. Shoot for the stars, man. And
yeah,
if the SEC
I'll come to agreement with that.
If the SEC says, "Hey, we would like you to come and join our conference," which is one of the premier conferences in college football and last year, as they showed in college basketball, how can I turn that down? Knowing, like you said, because you hit it on the nail, the ACC is dying. The same as the Big 12. It's dying. The Pac-12 is already dead. There are two main conferences right now, man. It's the Big Ten and the SEC. And if you want to remain actually nationally relevant, you can't hold your cards, man. You got to put them on the sinking table, dude. And sometimes you got to make uncomfortable moves.
I understand what you're saying.
Am
You
I
got to
right
throw it all out there, man.
Am I being silly?
Oh, no,
as
you're
an NC
100.
State fan? As an NC State fan,
No.
am I being silly, Nick?
Well, coming from a State fan, I mean, I will agree, yeah, you should shoot your shot for bigger and better things, but then again, you hadn't even seen what your boy is going to do on the field yet this year.
Right.
But, I mean, I'm not saying don't go for the SEC, but see what he's capable of, and you're going to start winning those recruits eventually if he does make a spark of juice this year on the field, and then you're going to want to get kids to go towards big things.
Right. So let me ask you this. As an NC State fan, if Carolina, let's just say that NC State stayed in the ACC and Carolina moved to the SEC, do you think that that would be a recruiting advantage for UNC?
Personally, man, in my opinion, y'all probably would have a little bit of an advantage in that, but don't get me wrong, we do recruit, look for the best, we want to find the great out there. We pay guys, but what I'm saying is the SEC, more kids just want to go there, man. It's like big-time football. That's where the money is. The money is in the big-time leagues. It's all not even loyalty anymore. It's what's killed this football world.
I agree. We agree. Look, and we agree with Hutch on that. You know, we agree with Hutch on that. The way that me and Hutch, which he knows I stink and love him, would start to kind of part ways a little bit is just understanding that, hey man, the old ways are dead. And as much as I despise it with a passion, I've accepted it, as uncomfortable as it is. And once again, it's hey bro, now that I've accepted reality, we got to roll with the punches, man. What is the next best option for UNC? And, I would say that if Carolina goes to the SEC, they obviously are still going to be competing with South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and et cetera, et cetera. But you have a much better, imagine Dave Dorn coming in and saying, hey, listen, I want you to come to Raleigh and play for me. And then Bill Belichick walks in and says, hey, not only am I the GOAT, which I don't think that he would even say anything like that, but not only am I the GOAT, but we're playing the best conference in America. Yeah. The top talent in the state of North Carolina is going to say, yeah, that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go there, man.
Yeah. Well, then again, yeah. But at this point of rate, you got to roll with something, like one thing at a time, process it. And it probably will eventually turn over. And best case scenarios, it's going to help this football program grow for you guys, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, do you think the powers that be do you think that the Board of Governors, do you know anything about the Board of Governors, like really trying to attach NC State to North Carolina? Because we all know that the SEC and the Big Ten want UNC. We know that. Do you think that it becomes a thing where NC State has to come as well, or it's a no-go?
I don't know, man. Whatever they decide. Don't get me wrong. We've hated each other since beginning of times. Heart, sweat, and tears, shoving football flags on each other's fields, messing around after games. And
since the beginning
I
of
honestly
time.
love that rival. I love it. I stinking love it. Wouldn't trade it for the world.
Of course.
But
me
still.
neither. Would you be okay? Let me ask you this, Nick. Would you be okay if Carolina and NC State scheduled, if the Board of Governors got together and said, hey, listen, Carolina and NC State will play annually. They will swap home and home just like they do in the ACC schedule, but it'll just be in the non-conference. Would you be okay with that? Would you accept that?
I would come to an agreement, yeah. That's acceptable. If we play once a year, yeah. As long as it keeps it fun, Because It's kind of fun to watch each other play, man. We've been doing it for so long now. There's just no point of taking the fun out of the rivalry at this point.
I agree. We have to play. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about that. And I think it makes it easy. Carolina's got to play NC State every year.
Well, you could take Duke out. There's no fun in football anymore. That's clearly a basketball program, and we all know that by heart.
There's some Tar Heels that would disagree with you. I would still like to keep Duke on the schedule, but I understand that if I had to choose, I want to play NC State every year. So,
what about Clemson though? Those guys are going to be tough. That's a veteran football team.
Well, they're going to be great this year. I think that's obviously the odds-on favorite to win the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yeah.
But whether or not Carolina plays them annually, I don't really care about that. I just want to play State and Duke. Yeah. You know what? I'll be honest with you, man. A lot of Carolina fans are going to hate me for this. I don't even really care about Duke. I really don't. Because to me, it's a basketball school, like through and through. Like people say Carolina's a basketball school. Duke is a basketball school through and through. So do I enjoy the rivalry to a certain extent? Yeah, we play for the victory bell, yes. But the real rivalry I promise you, I've only had 3 of these. The real rivalry is state. That's who I want to make sure that we play annually.
Yeah, agreed. That's on the table for sure.
So,
Yeah, which we'll see, man. We'll see what happens on the board and controls this year. I mean, like I said, anything can happen. But sadly, in this world, money takes over, and I wish it didn't come to that. I mean,
yeah, exactly. But it is what it is. You
run it like a business. No money involved. Players are gone. Coach is done.
Yep.
It's just like it is.
100%, Nick. 100%, brother. 100%. It's the world we live in today, man. So, but
yeah, rough as it is.
But anyway, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you calling in, bro. It's always good to get the perspective of the enemy. Always good to get the perspective of the enemy. So
laugh, cut up, and have a good time with your enemy.
There you go, man. There you go. I appreciate you, Nick.
Yeah, I appreciate being in. See y'all. See you, hooligans. And Russ, see you next time from your rival boy.
We'll see you next time, brother. All right.
Alrighty. Go Pack.
Later, man. Good call, man. Nick, the local Wolfpacker. Our favorite Wolfpacker, man. So, hey, listen, we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes, man. It's a lot longer than I thought that we were going to go. But if you want to get in here real quick, man, and let me know what you think, because we've had Hutch call in. Obviously, we give Hutch a bunch of time, man. Hutch is a stinking encyclopedia. Bryson was calling in today. BG the GOAT, man. I like it. I appreciate you calling in, little man. And then we got Nick, the local Wolfpacker, in here. Let me end with this, if nobody else is going to call in. Let me end with this, okay? And I've said this, but I really want to hone this down, okay? I really want to drive this stinking point home. And I promise you, this isn't the drink talking. This is Russ the Tar Heel. This is my heart. I want the smoke. I think that's going to be the theme for year 3. I want the smoke. Now, like I said, there will be plenty of people. There will be plenty of people that laugh it off. And guess what? I love that. I relish in the opportunity, dude. I relish in the opportunity to shut mouths. I love shutting mouths. I've spent my entire life shutting mouths. Now, I don't have any say-so or any actual, bearing on how this thing plans out. I'm just telling you what I want. Me, Russ the Tar Heel. I'm hoping that by 2026, we announce that we're going to the SEC. And I hope that because I want to play against the best. In order to be the best, you have to be the best. You have to beat the best. And if you can't beat the best, at least you shot your shot. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. This is the Spartan in me. I want to go out on my shield, man. I want to go out on my shield. I want to put it all on the line. I want to put all the chips to the middle of the table. Right? And whatever the outcome is, I'm okay with. I'm okay with it. Because I shot my shot. I shot my shot. And let that be a lesson to you in life from Russ the Tar Heel. You can take it or leave it, man. You can take it or leave it. Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot, man. Don't play, and I'm not telling you to be reckless. That's not what I'm saying. Be calculated. Be calculated. But shoot your shot, man. Go for gold. I'm trying to think of any other kind of sayings that would really drive in this thinking point, man. Like, don't sell yourself short. Don't you look at anybody. Don't look at any program. Don't look at anything in your life and say, you know what, that's too tall of a task for me to accomplish. I'm telling you, man, Carolina has the resources, the talent, the coaching staff. When they finally say, hey, we're bought in, it's time to shoot the shot, man, and let the chips fall where they may. So I really thought this was an interesting conversation, man. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me so late on a Sunday night, man. Had a blast. We had a couple of callers in here. If you didn't get a chance to call in or you're too shy, I get it, man. I understand. Do me a favor, man. Put down in the comment section right now whether you think Carolina should stay in the Atlantic Coast Conference, whether they should eventually strive to get to the Big Ten, and why. Okay? Or should they strive to get to the SEC? And once again, why? I want to know why, man. I want to know why. And I'm good with either way. I genuinely, hey, bro, you're not going to hurt my feelings. If you're like, hey, Russ, you're dumb. You are crazy, bro. Carolina's going to go, they're never going to win any games in the SEC, basketball or football. I want you to stinking let me know. Let me know it down in the comment section, man. Let me know it down in the comment section. And like I said, man, if you haven't already, please do me a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to the daggum channel, man. We're like 30 days out, dude, from year 3 of the Tar Heel Huddle, from year 3 of watching college football, college basketball together, man. And I'm super excited about it personally, man. I'm super excited about it. I cannot wait. Your boy is going to be in Chapel Hill September 1st to take in the greatness that is Bill Belichick on the sidelines in Carolina blue to take on the TCU Horned Frogs, man. And I cannot stinking wait, man. So, like I said, like, share, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate everybody hanging out with your boy on a Sunday night. I hope you guys enjoy and have a great work week, man, Monday through Friday. Y'all be safe out there, man. And grind, bro. Grind. Put in the work. Hustle. Do great things, man. Do great things. Do great things. All right, I'm stinging ranting here. So, anyway, I love you. And we'll catch you on the next one, baby. Go Heels.